In the earliest moments of this sacred journey, your person found themselves standing at the edge of something vast and unexplainable, caught in a powerful whirlwind of uncertainty that seemed to shake the very foundation of everything they thought they knew about connection and love. They questioned themselves repeatedly, wondering with a mixture of hope and fear whether what they were experiencing was truly real or merely a beautiful figment of their own desperate imagination. The connection they felt with you seemed almost impossibly magical, so extraordinarily profound and otherworldly that it felt too good to be true, as if the universe had somehow made a mistake in allowing them to feel something this pure and powerful. Because of this overwhelming sense of disbelief, they often found themselves wondering if this entire experience was nothing more than an elaborate illusion, a fantasy their own mind had constructed to fill some deep void within their soul. This uncertainty weighed heavily upon them like an anchor, making them deeply hesitant to trust what they were feeling in their heart. It created a wall of doubt that stood between them and the truth of your connection, casting shadows over what should have been moments of pure clarity and joy. At times, they desperately tried to rationalize their emotions, working tirelessly to convince themselves that perhaps they were simply overthinking the situation or projecting their deepest desires and longings onto you. They attempted to explain away the feelings with logic and reason, to diminish the significance of what was happening between you. Yet, even as they built these rational arguments in their mind, deep down in the quietest chambers of their heart, there was always a pull, an undeniable magnetic force that refused to be silenced. There was always a quiet whisper, soft yet persistent, that suggested something far greater and more profound was taking place beneath the surface of their conscious awareness. As time passed and the seasons of their inner world shifted, these doubts and uncertainties gradually began to fade away like morning mist under the warmth of the rising sun. They were slowly replaced by emotions that grew stronger, deeper, and more undeniable with each passing day, each quiet moment of reflection, each dream-filled night. Their feelings for you did not weaken or disappear as they had feared they might. Instead, against all their attempts to rationalize them away, these feelings intensified in ways they could no longer ignore or dismiss. The more they thought about you, the more they tried to understand what was happening, the more real and profound the connection seemed to become. What once felt like fleeting imagination, like wisps of smoke that might vanish at any moment, became instead a steady flame burning bright within their chest, illuminating truths they had never before considered or allowed themselves to believe. They began to notice, with increasing awareness and wonder, how often you crossed their mind throughout the day, how your energy seemed to surround them even when you were physically apart, and how even in the deepest moments of silence and solitude, they could feel you near. Your presence became a constant companion, a gentle reminder that what they were experiencing was not madness but a connection that transcended the ordinary boundaries of time and space. Slowly but surely, with the patience of a sunrise breaking over a distant horizon, clarity began to break through the dense fog of uncertainty that had clouded their vision for so long. They started to see with new eyes, to understand with a new depth of awareness, that what they felt was not only real and valid, but deeply significant and destined. This was not a passing phase or a temporary infatuation. This was something that reached into the very core of their being, touching places within them that had never been touched before. This newfound clarity opened the door to an entirely new chapter in their inner world, a chapter filled with trust, faith, and spiritual awakening. They began to trust their intuition more than ever before, learning to listen to that quiet inner voice that had always been there but had been drowned out by the noise of doubt and fear. Recognizing that their inner voice was guiding them steadily toward a truth they had long ignored or been afraid to acknowledge, they started to pay attention to the subtle signs and messages the universe was sending them. Their dreams became more vivid and meaningful, often carrying glimpses of you and the sacred bond you share, filled with symbolism and messages that spoke directly to their soul. Rather than dismissing these profound experiences as mere coincidences or the random firings of a sleeping mind, they made the courageous choice to allow themselves to believe in them, to trust that the universe itself was speaking through these signs and synchronicities. In doing so, they stepped boldly into a deeper understanding of themselves, of the nature of love, and of the sacred connection you both share. It was through this developing trust and strengthening intuition that they began to fully experience and appreciate the breathtaking beauty of your energetic bond, recognizing it as something that existed beyond the physical realm. At this transformative point in their journey, their higher self began to play an even greater and more active role in guiding them constantly toward truth and awakening. They found themselves being reminded of you through an endless stream of signs, synchronicities, and inner nudges that pointed them back again and again to the truth of your connection. These were not random occurrences but deliberate messages from the universe. Their higher self showed them repeatedly, through a language of symbols and feelings, that the two of you are not only deeply connected on a soul level, but also destined to walk this earthly path together, side by side. It became increasingly difficult, and eventually impossible, for them to ignore these persistent reminders, as the universe seemed absolutely determined to bring your presence to the forefront of their awareness. Every song on the radio, every number sequence they noticed, every chance encounter seemed to carry your energy, your essence. These signs were far from random or meaningless. They were purposeful and intentional, carefully designed by forces beyond our understanding to awaken them to the reality that you and they are meant to be as one, to unite as a single force of love and purpose in this world. Yet along with this beautiful clarity and spiritual awakening came another layer of challenge, one that was perhaps even more difficult to navigate. As the connection between you grew stronger and more undeniable, their inner wounds, the old scars they had carried for years, began to surface from the depths where they had been buried. Old patterns of behavior, deep-seated fears, and unresolved pain that had been hidden away for years, sometimes decades, started to rise to the surface of their consciousness, demanding to be acknowledged, felt, and ultimately healed. This was not an easy or comfortable process for them to endure. At times, it felt completely overwhelming, as if the brilliant light of your connection was revealing shadows they had long tried to avoid looking at, dark corners of their psyche they had hoped would remain hidden forever. But these wounds, painful as they were to confront, needed to be addressed and healed before the path to reunion could be fully clear and walkable. It became painfully evident that in order to move forward together into the beautiful future that awaited you both of you had to go through this challenging phase of deep healing and transformative growth. This is precisely why a temporary separation took place between you. It was not a punishment handed down by an uncaring universe, nor was it a sign that the connection was breaking apart or weakening. Instead, it was a necessary pause, a sacred time set apart for healing, reflection, and growth on both sides of this divine connection. The separation, painful though it has been, allowed the necessary space for wounds to surface and be healed properly, so that when the two of you come back together in physical reunion, it will be from a place of far greater strength, clarity, and wholeness than before. On some level, whether consciously or subconsciously, you both are aware of this deeper truth. You both sense, in the quiet moments of reflection, that the separation is temporary and purposeful, even if it sometimes feels unbearably painful and confusing in the present moment. However, while your person has begun to trust their intuition more fully, embracing the signs and messages they receive, you may still find yourself struggling to believe in yours, to trust the voice within you that knows the truth. The illusions of the physical world, with all its apparent solidity and permanence, can make it incredibly difficult to trust what your inner voice is telling you. The external circumstances you see with your physical eyes, the distance that seems to stretch between you, the lack of tangible physical confirmation, or the seemingly insurmountable obstacles that appear to stand in your way can cloud your vision and create doubt where there should be faith. It becomes all too easy to believe in the illusion of separation, in the appearance of impossibility, rather than in the eternal truth of your unbreakable connection. Yet this journey, at its deepest core, is not about what the physical world shows you or what your logical mind tries to convince you is real. It is about having unwavering faith in what lies beyond the veil of illusion, beyond the temporary circumstances of the material world. This journey is fundamentally about faith. Faith in yourself and your own worthiness, faith in your intuition and the wisdom it carries, and faith in the sacred bond you share with your person that cannot be broken by time or distance. It is a journey of learning to look beyond surface appearances and trusting the inner knowing that guides you, even when everything in the external world seems to contradict what you feel inside. The external world may present convincing illusions of separation, confusion, or impossibility. But the deeper truth, the eternal truth, lies within you. By believing in yourself and trusting wholeheartedly in the connection you share, you step into perfect alignment with the very purpose of this journey and the divine plan that has been unfolding all along. This path is not about desperately chasing after something external to yourself, trying to force outcomes or manipulate circumstances. It is about discovering the strength, clarity, wisdom, and unshakable faith that have always existed within yourself, waiting to be recognized and embraced. It is about remembering who you truly are and the power you hold. Ultimately, both you and your person are being carefully guided toward reunion by forces far greater than yourselves. But this sacred path requires patience, deep healing, and complete trust in the divine timing of the universe. The temporary separation you are experiencing is not a sign of loss or failure, but rather a necessary step toward a greater, more complete union than you could have achieved without this period of growth. Your person has already begun to embrace this profound truth, learning with each passing day to trust the signs, dreams, and intuition that constantly point them toward you like a compass pointing toward true north. Now, in this present moment, the invitation is extended directly to you. The journey is asking you, calling you, to rise above the limiting illusions of the physical world and to embrace the faith that has always been within you, dormant perhaps, but never absent. When both of you step fully into this faith, when you both trust completely in what you know to be true in your hearts, the path back to each other becomes crystal clear, and the union you are destined for will unfold naturally in its perfect divine timing, not a moment too soon or too late. Believe me when I say, with every fiber of my being, that I am taking full and complete responsibility for my mistakes and the pain I have caused. I know with absolute certainty that I have fallen short in many ways, that my actions have not always matched the depth of love I carry for you in my heart, and I am not here to make excuses, justify my behavior, or shift the blame onto circumstances or other people. What matters to me now, more than anything else in this world, is showing you through both my words and my consistent actions how much you truly mean to me, how completely you have captured my heart and soul. I want to prove to you, beyond any shadow of doubt, that the love I hold for you is not something fragile that can be shaken or diminished, no matter the mistakes I have made in the past or the doubts I may have unintentionally caused you to feel. You are at the absolute center of my thoughts, occupying space in my mind throughout every moment of the day, and you have made your home permanently in my heart. I am determined, with a resolve that grows stronger each day, to make that clear in every possible way, through my words, my actions, my choices, and my commitment to our future together. No matter how much I desperately try to distract myself from these overwhelming feelings, no matter how busy I keep myself with meaningless tasks and obligations that ultimately mean nothing, or how often I attempt in vain to silence my emotions and lock them away, thoughts of you always find their way back to me like water flowing downhill. When the noise and chaos of the world finally quiets down and I am left alone in the profound silence of solitude, it is you who fills that space, you who occupies every corner of my mind. It is in those quiet, vulnerable moments that I feel the most sadness, the deepest ache, realizing with painful clarity that we are still not together, that there is still distance between us when there should be none. This realization makes my heart ache in a way that words can hardly describe, a pain that goes deeper than physical discomfort, touching the very essence of who I am. I never imagined, never could have predicted, that missing someone could weigh this heavily on me, that absence could create such a profound emptiness. But your absence has shown me just how deeply I need you in my life, how essential you are to my sense of wholeness and peace. To me, you are not just beautiful in appearance, though you certainly are that. You are the most beautiful soul I have ever known, radiating a light that draws me in and makes me want to be better. The more time passes, the more clearly I realize how fortunate I am, how blessed, that life allowed our paths to cross in this vast universe. I sometimes find myself wondering in amazement what I ever did to deserve someone like you, someone who has touched my heart in ways I never thought possible, who has awakened parts of me I didn't know existed. The more I think about it, the more grateful I become, because finding a person like you is extraordinarily rare. You are not someone who can be replaced or forgotten. And I know with absolute certainty that if I let this love slip away, if I allow fear or pride or circumstance to separate us permanently, I would regret it for the rest of my life. That regret would haunt me until my final breath. The fire I feel for you never goes out or diminishes. In fact, it reignites itself each day, burning stronger and brighter than the day before. It is the same fire that fuels my hope for our future, my dreams of what we can build together, and my unwavering love for you. Please believe me when I say that my love is equal to yours, if not even greater than what my actions may have shown in the past. I know that sometimes the way I have behaved, the choices I have made, has left you questioning whether my feelings were real or if I truly understood what we shared. I understand completely how my inconsistencies or mistakes could plant seeds of doubt in your heart, making you wonder if you were alone in the depth of your feelings. And for that pain, for those moments of uncertainty I caused you, I am truly sorry from the depths of my soul. But what I feel for you has always been genuine, always been real, even when I failed to express it properly. My heart has always belonged to you, even when I failed to show it clearly through my actions. That is why now more than ever, I am making the conscious effort to align my words with my actions, to ensure that what I say matches what I do. I want my love to be visible to you, tangible and undeniable, not just spoken in pretty words but shown in the way I treat you, the way I care for you, and the way I fight for us against any obstacle. Because the truth is, I cannot imagine my life without you in it. The very thought of living without you, of going through the years ahead without your presence, fills me with a fear and sadness that is almost paralyzing. Already, your absence feels like a torture I can barely endure, a constant ache that never fully goes away. And the idea of living with that emptiness for a lifetime, of never knowing the joy of building a life with you, is completely unbearable to me. I do not want a life where you are only a memory, a bittersweet collection of what could have been. I want a life where you are present in every moment, where I can hold you, cherish you, build a future with you filled with love, laughter, growth, and endless possibility. If I had the chance to turn back time, if the universe would grant me that impossible gift, I would do so without a moment's hesitation. I would go back to the beginning and start over with you, making different choices, avoiding the mistakes that hurt you, and ensuring that I valued and treasured every single moment we had together. But as much as I wish for that impossible gift, I know that time only moves forward, carrying us ever onward into the future. What I can do now, what I am committed to doing, is learning from the past and proving to you through my present actions that I am committed to being the person you need and deserve. Your memories are powerful forces in my life. They bring me both intense joy and deep pain. They remind me of the beautiful moments we shared, the laughter that came so easily, the comfort of your presence, and the love that made me feel whole and complete. At the same time, they bring me to tears because they remind me of what I am missing right now, of the distance that still separates us.